I'm Nicholas Anderson, a corporate communication major over at University of Houston downtown. I am a junior transitioning into a senior, and for my internship credit, I chose to do something creative. So when I took Dr. Rubicek's interviewing class the summer before this one, summer 2017, and he informed me that there was going to be a radio station here at UHD. I jumped at the opportunity. Uh, I have always been interested in artistic means and ways of showing interest in artistic means. I enjoy sports. I enjoy pop culture, and it it seemed like all of these things that I enjoy seem to fit well with radio. I had always been told since I was a young child, since my voice matured, that I had a very, appealing voice for radio. So I figured that the best option for me when it comes to creative nature would be to do radio. Now, in doing this, I got a chance to experience something else. Uh, my time here at the radio station with the internship, I learned how to refine my resume. I had a colorful resume and a resume that was 2 pages, but since coming here and having to mold my resume again, I have found out how to do it the correct way, and it has been well received by those that I have showed it to. Here at the UHD iRadio internship, I have learned to think critically on the spot. And when I say that, I say that to say that yes, I have scripts for most of my radio shows, but a script could only take me so far. I had to extrapolate and come up with things on the fly very many times while I was doing segments on the radio, just to make what I was saying and make the program just that much more interesting. And it was interesting seeing as I made it off on the fly and didn't just think of it earlier in some kind of corny fashion, even though I did have some thought process as to where I was going with what I was saying. Uh, Throughout the term at this radio station, we were allowed to create our own shows, and we were advocated to push for some of the sources that we already had here, but nobody forced us to, and that was one thing that really thought made the radio station special. The radio station was also special was because it did not truly stifle our content. I mean, there were certain things you couldn't say, obviously profanity, but if we had views that were not like others, we were able to, you know, speak those views as long as we spoke them in a well-informed manner. An example of that is when me and my co-host Nick Wynn had a show about when the Astros went to visit President Donald Trump. Now, I do not agree with a couple of Donald Trump's views, and I've noticed a couple of my peers don't. So I thought this would have been a great. Me and Nick thought this would have been a great segment for our show Follow the Trend, where we discuss things that are trending and that so happened to be trending at the time. So we reported it. I have an example of the script we used right here. And even in developing the script, we decided mutually that we were really only going to talk on the social aspect of things and to keep away from heavier topics toward some like how we truly feel about politics. We decided and were able to articulate ourselves well within the parameters of just talking about it socially and not speaking on political terms. This way we could, reach all of our listeners keep it light, keep it interesting, and not have too much of a overly political sound to our show, which is what we intend. We intended for it to be light and not all that serious, at least that show. Throughout this internship, we were, you know, asked to do timesheets, and that would pose as an interesting and performance appraisals. That posed as an interesting thing for me to do because it allowed me to really assess the research I had been doing. I mean, and that research would span all the way from, watching games until early in the midnight, looking up stats constantly over and over, checking facts for things that we heard were trending and trying to get everything correct so we could appropriately report it to our listeners. Um, Through this internship, I learned even better how to work with the soundboard. I had had some previous experience with it, dealing with the soundboard at church, but dealing with it at the internship allowed me to do it on the fly, and allowed us to truly control the content. It was wonderful not having an actual sound engineer there. We actually got to learn how to use the equipment, something I cherish about my time here at UHDI Radio. I would like to thank the school for this opportunity, and hopefully I get to do it next semester in fall 2018. I thank you for your time, and again, I appreciate the amount of support that I've had from not only Dr. Rubchek, Dr. Murray, and um, Dr. Coyne, all of the wonderful professors that helped aided us on this trip, on this endeavor. I thank you, and I hope to see you again next year.